I prefer the cat in the chat to the cat in the hat. Okay, let's do a mission. So before we pop into it, I think the big differences between the mission phase and the downtime phase is that during the mission phase, you are responsible for playing your main character. That said, you can dictate things about NPCs and about the situation if you have traits that allow you to do so. And the mission phase also, it looks more like traditional roleplay and like you might be familiar with. So the way that things generally work is that the GM sets the initial scene, and then if players have traits that allow them to do so, they can contribute information about the setting and NPCs. The players describe what actions they want to take. The GM determines if the action will require a skill check, and if so, what the relevant stat is. And then if the action requires a skill check, you roll a d10 plus the stat. And if the action does not require a skill set, then the player narrates what the outcome of the action is. So it's pretty straightforward. So I think I want to start the mission where it is the day after these downtime phase scenes have just happened. So Morgan has stolen the scanner doohickey, and Kendall has gotten all of the supply chain information about where there is the most food waste on the station. And Krishna has just gone down to Deck E and run this short lecture and talked to the labor supervisor, Bob. And I think that this is like the following afternoon. So it's around the end of the school day, or around at least it's around when Nadim would leave school if he is leaving early to go work. And Krishna, you're teaching, and he's in class. He's in the front row, and he is kind of falling asleep.
Oh no. I'm trying to think about what Krishna's like classroom persona is, and I think he likes to be fun. He tries to be fun, but he's also like, I'm here to teach and you're gonna learn, kind of, you know, like I'm basing him off a little bit of my brother, who was a teacher for a little bit, and he was like, I'm not here to be anybody's favorite teacher, I'm here to teach him stuff. And I'm like, okay. Maybe not entirely that, but I think that's like the energy. So Krishna will like stop class and be like, Nadim, is everything okay? And like kind of jokingly will be like, oh, I'm sorry, is the life cycle of a fish not fascinating for you? Rudimentary science, I assume.
Life cycle of a fish. I think he's like, no, Mr. Varma, the fish are really cool. I just don't feel too great today. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, do we have like a nurse's office? I'm assuming we do, but
probably, also, yeah, you do. Let's say you do.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you need to, you can go to the nurse's office. But like, how not feeling well? Like, and I think I'll walk over, I'll like lean down. How are you feeling? Like, is it a fever? Do you feel like what's happening?
I don't know how exactly he would word it, but I think from his description, you ascertain that he's kind of like brain foggy and just really exhausted and a bit out of it. And just mostly like having like fatigue and difficulty like stringing thoughts together.
Okay, yeah, maybe you just need some water and some excuse me, like just some water, and maybe the nurse might be able to check up on you. And I think again, Krishna's trying to like not blow this into a whole thing, but like knowing Nadim is like, okay, probably there's something weird, and you know, got a kid. I know you in the lore, there's like a bunch of students to teachers in on the station, so it's like to a whole classroom, which doesn't want to be like, hey, Nadim, are you having a fucking allergic reaction? All right, yeah, go, but make it quick. Like again, to try and like keep a class in line, make it quick. If anything's wrong, you know, just tell the tell the nurse to ping me or something.
Okay. I think that he do you think it's the kind do you think that your students are old enough for the kind of like class setup where the students rotate through classrooms for different periods?
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I think that he like thanks you and leaves his bag or like his books or whatever and goes to the nurse and does not come back for the rest of the class period. And then at the end of the class period, so like during the passing period, comes in and is sort of like sheepishly like packing up his stuff.
Oh no. I think like, you know, as people are like filing out and stuff like that, it'll be like, hey, Nadim, are you okay? Like, I didn't see you all day. After sending you to the nurse's office, like, I was gonna go check in with them, but it'd be good to hear from you. How are you doing?
Yeah, he says that he had some water and the nurse gave him like a like I'm trying to think like what's like a what is the future of Ensure? Like the gross protein drink thing.
What's the future?
It's probably still gross and green.
Yeah. So yeah, one of those gross
Like it comes out of a tube that you out.
Right, right.
It's like it's Go-Gurt, but you drink it and you're like, oh, it's Ensure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Exactly.
Outsure.
Okay. The nurse gave him water and an Outsure, and he wasn't feeling really well and was still feeling pretty low energy, and they didn't want to send him back to class, so they kept him through the end of the class period. Mm-hmm. And he has been instructed to go home and just rest up. And he says that he has a note from the nurse for his mom to if she has the time / resources / chooses to do so, is recommended to take him to the clinic on deck E, which is, you would know, is not the best not the best resource. And he's been instructed to take it easy, but he also relays that he's meant to be harvesting in the stacks for a solid 2.5 hours later this evening. So he's going to go try and rest up a bit before that, but is still really not feeling too hot.
Ooh, okay. So, okay, I'm going to pull on Krishna's puts himself in the personal lives of his students a lot. Like, is like, okay, I'm going to keep helping out. So Krishna's like, hey, if you like, is somebody going to pick you up after school, or are you going home by station bus?
So his normal route is that he walks by himself from the like school building facility area to the big elevator bay that runs down like the spine of the station, and that's about 3/4 of a kilometer of a walk. And then from there, he takes the elevator down, and usually his mom meets him at the elevator bay, and then they walk home together.
Okay. I think Christian's gonna be like, I gotta do something about this. And is maybe gonna be like, I'm gonna call your mom, and if you can stay here for a little bit, I have a friend who might be, or you wouldn't say that's maybe a little weird. I might be able to help you out, and maybe we can finally get some concrete evidence on some stuff that's happening with you. All right. And is gonna be like, just, you know, you can wait in my office. It's gonna be all cool. You know, you can get here's $1. Get a drink from the teacher's lounge. I'll let you have soda. It's fine. It's whatever.
He goes to like the teacher's lounge vending machine and gets a like future Coke. which is probably just still Coke. Like they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, that's a terrifying part, right? Like they will survive in space.
Yeah, it's just like the logo is the same, the bottle shape is the same. It's oh
I like
Terrifying.
yeah, he gets him one of those, and he's just kind of sitting and having his drink, and maybe like kicking his feet back and forth, and just waiting.
I'm gonna call Morgan, who recently stole a bunch of diagnostic tools.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah.
And we're gonna be like, we gotta kick this off. Like, I think this is Krishna's in like righteous change mode, is all like, this is it. We gotta like, I got the kid right here. He's clearly having an allergic reaction. We're gonna have recorded evidence of this, and this is gonna be it. You know, like
Yeah, absolutely. I think Morgan shows up really quickly, but also messages Kendall like, and Morgan's one of those people where they just go like, hey, until you respond. Like they're not telling you what it's about.
How long do you think it takes Kendall to sort of check his phone or his tablet? And
Question mark.
Yeah, so I,
Random
At the end of
question.
the school day.
so I think Kendall sees the first one, right? But Kendall's stubborn, but not as stubborn as Morgan. I think we get to 9 hays, right? And then Kendall's like, all right, whatever. Yes.
So
Is this like a habit you're trying to break? It's like you gotta like, I'm just gonna
like when you ignore the yippy dog, right?
Right. It'll stop. But I gave up at 9. So last time I gave up at 5, right? I held out to 9.
And you have
Progress,
yet to
progress.
find the limit of Morgan's belligerence versus the limit of your own patience. Like
Right.
force and movable object. Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. And I think there's like a code that we have. I don't think I'm gonna outright say what the thing is, but I'll be like, hey, the usual plays, we're pushing forward, right? To let you know, because Morgan is really paranoid. I think they half believe people are like out to get them.
People are like, when you said that to Damien, you actually meant it.
I think I like half mean it. I think it's part of their narcissism. I don't know. But yeah.
And Krishna, in the meantime, do you notify Avni? Okay.
I should definitely I'll be like, your son needs to stay over for sick reasons. I hope that's okay.
I think that she would reply and say, like, should I come up? I'm on my break. I can try and come up right now.
Yes. I feel like, yeah, I think Krishna would be like, you should be here for legal reasons. Like, I mean, he cares dearly, but is also like, I shouldn't like do this to your son without at least you knowing. But also, I think it's maybe like an internal conflict of Krishna's like, yes, but then is also like, Morgan, hurry the fuck up.
So I think
because
Avni
maybe because she might not want this, you know what I mean? Like
Right,
he's
right.
like, I don't know, like, oh, okay, yeah, like, yes, you should be here for your son, but also you might stop this from happening, and I don't want that to happen.
she confirms that it's like your classroom. I think that she's like involved enough that she knows her way around the sort of school area of Dexy and is able to find like where your classroom is, and confirms that where you are, and confirms that she's on her way. I think that she has like an hour break in the afternoon, and that's normally when she meets Nadim at the elevator, and will like on days that he's not working in like the afternoon or the evening, we'll sort of like get him a snack and set him up in one of the common areas or in his pod to like do homework or to rest. And on days that he is working, then they kind of hang out for a bit and then head over to the vertical fields together for when Nadim's like shift starts and Avni's shift resumes. So she's got sort of limited time to work with here. But she's on her way as quickly as she can be. And Kendall, so you've gotten this message from Morgan that it's pretty cryptic, but I think that you know what they're trying to say. Right. What do you do?
Yeah, I will try to wrap up whatever it is I'm doing and make my way over to the meeting place.
And do you normally meet sort of in the school facilities, or is this like the usual for you guys?
I think that fits, right? I think.
Yeah, you don't want to hang out near the artists colony. We're all like, well, my section is terrible. The other section's okay.
And I don't know that I can sneak everyone up to the aid deck without looking suspicious, right?
Probably not, yeah.
Without looking weird, without standing out. So I think that makes sense. That is the most inconspicuous place.
Yeah, you're the friend, like, because Morgan and I live on Deck C, it's like you're the friend who has to come to us all the time.
Right.
You know? It's like, well, you know, it's hard, you know, 2 people going to you, that's twice the bus fare. You know what I mean? It's like
I think the one time you asked us to come over, I did a painting of an ivory tower, right? Just to be passive aggressive about it.
Any idea? It's so much easier for you to come down. It's economical.
That's right. It's economical.
You're right.
The data don't lie.
I think, oh God, the data. You've got about 15 to 20 minutes before Nadim's mom rolls up. When do you think, Morgan and Kendall, when do you guys think that you arrive?
I think I'm there before Morgan.
Oh, nice.
I think Morgan means to be there on time, but they're like, oh, Krishna's already seen me in this outfit. Like, I need to wear something else. And so I steal Damien's jacket because Damien has a cool leather jacket, and it would look better.
God.
So.
You're like, I don't respect Damien's art, but I respect Damien's aesthetic.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. It's my everything. Okay. And Felicia, when they arrive, what do they see? Has the situation changed at all? Are you still just sort of sitting around with this kid?
I think I'm sitting around with this kid, and we're, oh my God, I think I would be like reallocating Damien's resources. I think I would definitely still, like, again, like, I'm like, oh, like, I'm a fun personality. And like, I try and be like, I'm friendly with the kids and stuff like that. But I'm also like, well, since we have this time, you want to just do your homework and I'll help you out with it. So it's not even like he gets to just hang out and like chill out. I'm like, well, if you need help, like we should make use of this time. So like, let's get out your homework. Let's work on it together. And I'm sure Nadim's like,
I think he starts doing this like worksheet about the life cycle of a fish where it's like a diagram and you have to label all the different like life phases from the diagram. It's probably not an actual paper worksheet. It's probably like airdropped to a tablet. But he's like got his tablet out and probably like a stylus and is like, I don't know anything about it, but he's probably asking you questions about fish biology.
Yeah. I think like Kendall comes in first and I'm like, what? Oh, because I didn't call you over. Hey, yeah. No, it's a good thing you're here. Yeah. I'm glad.
I think Nadim looks up and is like, hi. But like doesn't know who you are.
Right.
Oh, obviously.
Right. And I think Kendall doesn't know who Nadim is either, so he looks at Krishna like,
oh, Kendall, Nadim, Kendall. It's a friend of mine. Don't worry. We're just going to talk about some stuff. Kendall, this is the kid with the allergy problems.
And then the light bulb goes off.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And Nadim is like, hi, Mr. Kendall.
Oh my God, this precious child.
He's a good kid.
He's a good kid.
I have to resist the urge to burn down the entire deck that's making him work. Anyway.
I know, right? This poor kid.
Do you
We
think
might
that
not-
Morgan gets there before Avni?
Yeah, because I took Damien's bike, so his motorbike, so no
Oh
problem.
my
I can get there relatively fast.
This is
His
just
jacket and
robbery.
his bike.
This is just robbery.
I'm just borrowing. It looks better on me. The motorbike, it just goes with my hair better. You know, we have a similar color scheme going on.
What's so funny is that Jamie, the two of us, we have played one other game together, and you had a motorbike and that one too. So now I'm like,
It's true.
every RPG we do together, you're gonna have a motorbike. This is
Oh
just
my
your brand
God.
now. From now on,
It's true. It's true. I was a lot nicer as a person in that game, though, compared
Yeah.
to the trash. But it's true. It's true. I love motorbikes.
Okay, so you're just like, I think that it like is because like most of the station is all technically like indoors. So I think to minimize or reduce like risk of damage to infrastructure, I think it would be like electric and it would like hover and not like skid on the floors.
Right.
So you're on this like little hovering motorbike thing, probably like whipping around corners really fast. And you arrive, and yeah, what is the state of this classroom area when Morgan arrives? What do they walk in on?
I feel like Kendall and Krishna are now just talking like logistics. You know what I
Right.
mean? I think we're in full plan mode. We're like, okay, we're gonna get. I'm like just. I think I'm asking Kendall a bunch of like pointed questions of like, all right, now walk me through this. We get a receipt. We get a medical receipt. Where does that go? Right, and then like, all right. So once we get that certified, where does that go? You know.
Yeah, and I think Morgan walks in and does that over familiar, like, we're just best friends kind of thing of like putting a hand on your shoulder, like kind of like headbutting, but you know, we're just friends. That's what friends do, right? And then I'm putting I was going to say tricorder. It's not a tricorder. I put the medical equipment down. It's not, wrong game, not a tricorder. And I put it down at the desk. But while the adults are talking, I think Morgan's actually going to sit on the desk with, you know, like go in there, put their chin in their hand and hang out with Nadim. And I'm going to be like, oh, you know, I think you could draw a better fish than that. This fish looks, you know, how about we draw stuff together? You can do your homework later.
And I think that that's what you're up to when Avni comes in. I think that Nadim is drawing fish with Morgan at the desk, like on the tablet, and Krishna and Kendall are still talking through the sort of logistics of like what your next steps are from a like a practical standpoint. When Avni comes in and sort of hesitates in the doorway and sees like, you know, this teacher who she trusts and then these strangers and her kid, and is like, hey, what's going on?
Oh, hey, Avni, so I want you to meet, and I think like Krishna like stops for a second and realizes like this is like a little weird. Like is aware of the fact that this is weird. It's like, I want you to meet. How would you want to be introduced? The two of you, like would I just say Kendall and Morgan, or would I be like this is?
Yeah, I think Kendall would cut you off from anything formal, right? I'm from A deck. I'm down here on C deck. Oh, you know, so Kendall, yeah, it's just Kendall.
Okay, yeah, and
Oh, you probably recognize me in my work. Like all over the place. I know that I look very humble, and you wouldn't think this is what an artist looks like. And you know, Morgan is exactly what you think an artist looks like. I'm going to say that right now.
Oh my
Like with the
God.
dyed hair and the tattoos.
Mhm.
Nice.
Immediately clocks you as someone who's from like, yeah, that artist colony where rich kids who are tired of being rich go to be less rich.
Exactly. The ones who have the privilege to fail as much as they like, right?
Yes.
So,
People who have the money to actually have hobbies and then are able to execute a career shift to pursue those hobbies.
Too
I
real.
was like, yeah, okay. And sort of hoping that Nadim doesn't get any ideas because that's not a feasible life path for him at this
That's
juncture.
right. It's not feasible.
right, exactly. When she's thinking that, I'm like, oh, maybe the fish can fly, Nadim. What do you think? Let's add wings.
Oh my god. And she's like, this is not valuable to my kid. My kid has to be in the fields and Chuck's watch 23 minutes.
Yeah. I'm like, oh no. I think Krishna also is all like, wait, no, I needed like titles. Like you needed to sell to this mom. You're like respectable people.
And I think
And Morgan is like, I am
mom
respectable.
waves and then goes back to trying fish, which is not helping.
Okay, let's. So I think Christian's like, so, before you take Nadim, I just wanted to, speak to you. I wanted to make sure that you were okay with this, and hopefully that you will, that we can go through with this. But Nadim's having another reaction, or has been having another reaction, and we have the equipment. Jamie, would Morgan feel weird about being referred to as a doctor, even though they're not an active doctor? Or like,
I think it's one of those. I think the moment you start talking, like all of a sudden Morgan shifts. Like they can't help it; they don't like it, but they're very good at the gobbledygook doctor talk.
okay, yeah.
It's like a second personality that they don't like, but it comes out. And
Right.
I think they're like assisting you and helping you like go through the steps. Like they're drawing the diagrams and stuff to like
Okay,
show
yeah.
what's going on. Yeah.
Oh, that's so helpful. It's like, as you can see, like, and we have like Morgan here. I think like Krishna kind of speeds through like was a professional doctor and like like
Right,
Says the
obvious,
was
like,
fast,
you
but says
yeah.
the professional
look like a
doctor.
It's just very like, you don't look like a doctor, but okay, if you say so.
all right.
Oh, when she does that, I go, no, this is my doctor face, and then like I shift to show my this is serious.
That's
Well,
right,
this
this
is
is
how
serious.
convincing that is. Can you roll with social to tell me how reassuring or convincing that is to Omni?
Okay.
Absolutely, I'm
So
so
that's
glad.
a D10 plus your social stat.
And plus my social is 5, so I'm so glad.
Was it?
Okay, I'm rolling.
Avni's like was a doctor.
Oh,
like,
that's a 10.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
I
I hope
think
these
they-
rolls last.
they-
It's a 10
Nice.
plus a 10 plus a 6. I'm sorry, so 15 in
10
total.
plus is 15. Okay. She finds your "this is my doctor face" bit actually really endearing and comforting and not at all off-putting. And seems to sort of visibly relax once you do that.
Wow, nice.
And I wink at Krishna like, we got this, babe.
You roll.
I mean, friend.
I think Krishna like was also like thrown back maybe a little bit. Was like, oh, hello.
Yeah, I think Kendall is the straight man, right? He's, what is going on here, right? What is that? Okay.
Yeah, the lovable third wheel.
Right,
Kendall
right,
is the friend who knows what's happening, even when the
right.
couple itself does
Yeah.
not know what's happening. And Kendall
Yes.
is starting to clock like something's up.
That's right. Something's up. What's happening here?
Okay.
It's just the data.
I love it's just
That's
The
right.
data's not
The
there.
data says detecting a trend.
well, so we won't hold Nadim too long. but we hope to find proof, like medical proof, like get a medical receipt, a diagnosis. That's the word I forgot the word diagnosis for so fucking long. What's a medical receipt? Who knows? We have to get a diagnosis and that we can then take to higher ups so that we can maybe get him treatment and maybe make some real change for people. Like, you must have noticed that Nadim has been going through, has been feeling weak, has not been feeling well, right?
He's just been having like a lot of exhaustion, but I honestly think that it's two things. I think it's the demands of being in school and also having to start taking on shifts, which we all go through it. It's how it is on Deck E. You know, go to school until you're 12, 13, but for the last few years of that, you're sort of doubling up on responsibilities, and then and it's not easy, but it's, you know, you do it because it's what you do, and it pays off in the end. And I think the other thing is that I don't think he eats enough. I think that maybe he's a little bit I don't know, but I have a hard time getting him to eat the. I don't know. I'm doing my best, but
you're doing your best. I think Krishna like does try to reassure. Like God, my real reaction was like, oh no. I get really stressed out. Like, okay, like growing up with allergies stuff, like I got stressed out by parents. Like I would tell my friends' parents, they'd be like, have you ever tried just like eating more peanuts? Like introducing into your diet. And I'm like, you don't understand how miserable I feel when I have an allergy. Like, I don't want to do that. So like that really set me.
Yeah.
No matter how well-meaning it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh geez. So I think Krishna like is like, well, you know, you are doing your best, and I don't want you to feel like we're stepping on anything. And if, you know, Nadine needs, like, is just exhausted, it just needs to eat more, then that's like, you know, then it's, you say that you know how to take care of that, and I want to trust you. But there really isn't any harm in checking if something else is wrong, right? Like if nothing's wrong, then that's great. If something's wrong, then and then I think this is where I'm going to try and like get like, I'm going to be like, Kendall, you want to talk about the logistics of this? Kind of like, if something is wrong, then like, you know, we'll handle it. My good friend Kendall here will handle it.
And Morgan like pushes you towards
yeah.
This is your time to shine, my friend.
And then I think something clicks with Kindle, right? I mean, all this time, Krishna's been pushing and demanding and assertive and overt. And so I think Kindle says, I was under the impression there were things wrong and that we were going to affect some change, right? That the kid does have allergies, right? And that is really what's wrong. No amount of more food is going to fix them, but the amount of right food, right, is what we're trying to do. I mean, that's why we did the reallocating of resources and things. We just are trying to dot our I's and cross our T's. Once we have the evidence, right, we can make a case for getting better food down to Deck E for folks who have these allergy conditions, right? I mean, he has a problem, right?
I think that, like,
I mean, we talked about this, right? That's why we're all here, because he has a problem, right? Why are we talking around it?
I think that Nadim is kind of like this is the kind of thing where you would expect him to jump in, but he doesn't. Just kind of looking back and forth between the grown-ups as this conversation happens. And I think that Avni is like, well, yeah, there's clearly some kind of problem, And I think that you're able to tell without her really saying it, because I don't think that she would know how to articulate it in this moment, that she wants the problem to be that he's like malnourished and not keeping on weight from not eating enough, or that he's exhausted and sort of foggy from being overworked, because those are things that she feels that she has within her power to fix. And she does not want the problem to be big enough that she feels powerless in the face of it.
Yeah, and I think, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think when that happens, Morgan steps forward. And it's that moment where like Morgan is kneeling down to talk to Nadim, but really they're also talking to Avni. And they're saying, I know that this seems really scary. I know that you're doing your best, but we're all here to take care of each other, right? And some of us just need a little more care. Some of us just need a little more help. And that's absolutely okay, because we're here for each other.
And I think that Avni is like restraining an emotional reaction to sort of say like, well, how fast or how long will it take, whatever that you're going to do, because we need to be in the stacks pretty soon, or we'll both get written up, and that's docked pay for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I look at Krishna and I'll say, well, it only takes a few seconds. Like the unspoken thing is because rich people don't wait long. That's why this machine works quickly.
Like you're like showing off the shiny little tricorder.
Yeah. And so I pick it up. And I'll be like,
that's when Nadim perks up again and is like, whoa, what's that?
Right. Maybe we can draw it together later. We can add more doohickeys. And so, but you know, I'm looking at Avni, like, because I had a really bad, when I was a doctor, I had really bad bedside table manners, but I'm actually looking at Avni and I'm like, is this okay? Like, we'll go ahead with the process. It'll be as quick as possible.
And she says, like, she just confirms that, you know, it's not invasive at all. It won't cause any pain or discomfort. It's just the scan. That's all you're doing. And then once all of those questions have been answered, she's on board with you doing it.
And Morgan has to once again resist the urge to like, oh no, rich people don't like invasive people. Like, they have all this great shit. But yeah, so they do their thing, but Morgan's also looking at Krishna and Kendall like, okay, the next step is the both of you, right? So
yeah, and Kendall will reassure Avni, hey, don't worry about being docked. I will make sure you're covered today, because I know the ways around the station, and so through bureaucracy and the rule of law and all that good stuff. So I'm assuming I have some way to like a hall pass, or you can be late for this amount of time, or something like that. There's something, some workaround. Legally platinum, there it is.
Yeah, that, you +2 to rolls. Yeah, so you can definitely. I think you're gonna have to you're probably gonna have to walk in with them and sort of like show a badge or flex a little bit, and gonna have to roll for it. But you do have advantage on that roll, or with the +2. So I think that your odds are pretty good of being able to pull this off. So with the legally platinum trait. So I think with that reassurance, Avni's kind of like, well, you know, she hopes that it's quick. She hopes that she can get back to work like in time, but this takes as long as it takes, and this seems like it's pretty important. So let's go ahead and do it. And what kind of output do you think the scanner machine gives, Jamie?
Yeah, and I think like I take my time to make sense of the numbers to show her what they mean, but like it shows that he's been clearly malnourished for a long period of time, right? And so like I show as a baseline what the numbers are supposed to be like. And I'll say, you know, he's really been trying his best and pushing himself a lot harder But really, there's only so hard we can push ourselves, right?
Yeah.
But I show like how, like I think the machine even shows like there's like a consistent, like every time he eats, that's when it gets worse, right? There's something that we see evidence of that.
Yeah, a spike in
scan.
some sort of like inflammatory response or whatever after meals. And I think that the machine is also able to pinpoint and just say like straight out, like that's gluten. That's the protein that's in gluten. So, you know, he has an answer for why he doesn't feel well. And I think that Nadim also would know like what gluten is from Krishna's presentation on food allergies.
Yeah.
So
Hell yeah.
and I think that he's sort of like, wait, that means that I can't eat anything. Because I think when you're told that you can't eat gluten, the first thing that you realize is that gluten is in everything.
Oh. I think probably Krishna's like, no, don't worry. There's plenty of stuff that you can eat. And also, there's plenty of alternatives that we can supply, that hopefully we'll be able to supply you with.
Yeah, we can take it from people who don't deserve it. I mean, we'll find ways to reallocate, you know, and you'll get access to better food.
There's a lot of food out there.
He's like, well, there's not a lot of food in the Deck E dining hall, even when you know the staff. It doesn't make the options any better.
We're here to hopefully do something about that. Like I said, hopefully this is all you need to do. The rest of it can be in our hands.
And I think she thanks you and then seems kind of antsy about getting back downstairs because it's going to take a bit and their shift is supposed to start in like 20 seconds. So she's like, okay, we're going to be late. We've got Kendall who can help us have sort of less punishment for being. Damien has rice flour.
I saw that. That cracked me up.
Kendall, who can sort of help us have less punishment for being late, but is still kind of antsy, especially because of her sort of way of thinking that like you work within the constraints of the station rules, and the station in turn takes care of you and keeps your life, if not always the best, at least tolerable. So she's like, you know, if I'm scheduled to be somewhere by the station, then I got to be there. And is kind of like, is there anything else that you guys need to do right now? Should we just, I mean, we'll try and navigate dining hall dinner when it's time for that, but at least for now, we're on shift like now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't worry. Kendall will take care of you.
It's fun.
And then by dinner, I think we'll have something figured out by then. Morgan overpromises, completely believing in Krishna.
I'm like, I think like Krishna's like, by dinner, and like excuse me.
The dining hall opens for dinner in like 2 hours.
Morgan has completely unrealistic expectations of reality because of their privilege.
I love it. I love it
so much. Morgan's like, yeah, we can totally fix this in 2 hours. So,
no
Kendall, do you escort
yes.
Omni and Nadim back down to Deck E?
Yes, I get all official-like, and I will escort them both back to Deck E.
Okay. And I think they kind of lead the way, and when you walk into the vertical fields in the sort of area where they've been tasked with working, Bob Whitman, the labor supervisor, is there and is waiting, and when he sees the two of them come in, he sort of opens his mouth as if he's going to say something, and then sees you, and you can see that he's sort of redirecting his response, and then he says, "Sir, is there a problem?"
I introduced myself. I used my full title and my first and last name. And I say, no, I just want to make sure that we're doing a data study. And these two were gracious enough to help us gather some data, and I wanted to make sure they're not penalized
Go.
for providing services for us. They didn't have to do that, so
I think we need you to roll. I think that's going to be social. So roll a d10, then add your social stat to convince Bob that this is like all above board.
Can he throw in his legally platinum?
Yes.
Like plus
Yes,
2
so
also.
add your
Okay,
social
cool.
stat and then add your +2 for legally platinum.
all right,
And
cool. And
social-
I have a 4. Is that right? 4 for
Yeah,
my
you have
social
4 in
stat?
social.
All right, here we go.
You've got really good odds.
And I have a D10 because I don't know how to make the Google thing work. I was trying to
Oh,
make that happen. I have an 8.
+6, 14. Yeah,
Yes.
that is a success.
Nice.
So he seems a bit reluctant and says kind of like, because you said like they didn't have to help you with that. He says, no, they didn't. And I would appreciate if, you would give advance notice for future data studies, but it is what it is.
Name drop my dad. Okay. I will let. I can't remember my dad's name now.
Is your dad's name in the character sheet? Did we give your dad a name?
I think you did. I thought so. Maybe not. No, I just say I can't stand my father. Yeah.
Father.
And I use his whole full title.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, like blah, blah, blah. The third.
Yes. And I said, I will be sure to let, executive director, blah, 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 whatever, Hirschhorn, know that, you express some displeasure at your workers, your employees, your staff helping out with the Commerce Department, right? That was a problem for you.
And
Sure to
I
let
think
him know
Bob kind of hedges and says, "It's no problem.
No, it's fine. I will deliver that message. It's we don't want to make people upset, right? We don't want to do that in the Commerce Department.
Oh my god.
And I think that he knows that he's sort of walked into something here, and this is not going to go well for him. So he's like, "Thank you. I really appreciate that." And that's it. He just shuts down.
God, I would hate to be in Bob's place right now. That sounds miserable.
Bob really just put his foot in it and not.
Yeah, like really walked into that.
I'll say goodbye to Avni and Nadim, and I make sure to say that if they have any questions or any issues, be sure to contact me. You have my numbers, right? And that is more for Bob to know. Don't mess with these folks, man, right?
Oh.
It's not really for this, for Bob, right? No, there should be no repercussions on them for this.
And I think that goes over Nadim's head, but Avni is like, knows exactly what you're doing, sees it, and appreciates it. And then they sort of start climbing up in the stacks, get their equipment, and get down to work. And that's a wrap on that scene. So what do you guys think you do next? What's your next course of action? So you know that there's the Deck E dining hall that you could sort of go poke around in. There's also the upper deck restaurants. There's I don't know. You've got some options for where you guys want to go next.
Yeah, and I think Morgan's excited. Like, yeah, we've got 2 hours. We can totally do this.
Oh my god.
2 hours.
Oh.
So I think ultimately we're trying to provide better food alternatives to Deck E.
Yeah.
Right? And we have at least one individual with an issue with the current food that they have down there. We have proof of that, right?
And we also know about the food, what's the surplus? That's the word I was looking for.
Right.
And Kendall knows a board member who's like related to food and drug policy. So I think maybe if we could prove more people have a problem, because I'm sure that Nadim is not the only person with issues, right? And a lot of our workers come from there. So
Yeah.
Could we extrapolate data from the number of folks on Decky and maybe come up with some number?
it's all in the data.
I
Yeah.
think you guys could, like, you could,
Actually, no. You know what I'm gonna do? Because I
What do
saw
you-
it here in my character sheet. I'm already doing this, right?
what are you doing?
So right here in one of my background questions was, are you more frequently motivated by altruism or by self-interest? And then the answer I have here is, I'm self-interested, but too scared to act on it a lot of the time. Recently, I've started fudging the numbers to make it seem like more medical supplies need to be allocated to Decky than have been in the past.
Wow.
Oh, I love
So
that.
I am going to fudge the numbers, right?
Ooh.
I will get them close, right? It's a guesstimate, extrapolation kind of thing to make the paperwork look good, and so we can present a better case.
Yeah.
I hope.
You're
Okay,
gonna
I
make
like
it seem like more people have issues with the food than certifiably do in order to
Right.
be able to use that data to make a case for changing the
Yes,
food options.
right. With the surplus that we found.
Do you think that you're proficient enough in creating this, like, somewhat falsified, slightly bent data that you would not have a risk of failure doing it?
Heck yeah! See, I don't really enjoy being an analyst. It says so right here, even though I'm good at it.
All right. So I think that you wouldn't have to roll for creating this sort of, what would it be? Like an Airtable sheet? I don't know. How do you manage this data?
That's right. Nice.
All right. Oh my God. Wow. This comment, if you go from 1%, I was a math major for 2 years and I didn't know that. Okay.
Whoa.
I'm kind of mind blown. This is why I didn't get a math degree. Because I'm not good at math.
Like if the 12s were beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm genuinely surprised, Dom. I mean, you don't know your 12's multiplication table. I don't know what
You
you
don't have to
no,
know
no.
multiplication to do theoretical math. But
I guess that
don't know
realm is
theoretical
all
math.
theoretical. You're really good at that, right?
I mean, I don't know theoretical math either, so it's not like it really made a difference. It was really just not my wheelhouse. I tried. Anyway,
so
so Kendall is definitely able to create this sort of parcel of data, and then what do you do once you have that data? Where do you take it?
I think we're going to go see Sabrina Rinsberger.
All right.
I'd love to go check out the upper decks too. I think that'd be fun to do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think,
Sabrina
I
Rinsberger.
think that's what we're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So she is the board member who informs most of the food and drug policy on the station. And she is a contact of Kendall's. Do you take Krishna and Morgan with you to go to this meeting?
Yes,
Yeah.
but they have to dress up. We're going up to deck A, right?
Oh my God, fashion
Yeah.
montage!
Yeah. Damien has clothes for decade.
I'm also assuming because of their previous interaction of like, well, we're roommates, but we like kind of don't know each other too much, that you're just stealing this shit. Like not even like
I'm
bar, like-
reallocating. I'll reallocate it back at some point
Reallocate it.
when it stops
Wow.
looking so good on me.
Yeah, we did it back.
like, what? Like, David's like, where the hell is my goddamn check?
Where's my motorcycle? Like his entire motorcycle.
It's just gone.
One of y'all are. This is a performance piece, isn't it? Somebody stole. They're gonna. Back. Or that is that what Morgan always says? It's a performance piece.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. I'll be like, what's going on with this artist is they're trying to teach us what are we connected to? What are we materialistic about? What are we not willing to let go of? Right?
And the way that you teach people that is by stealing from their
Doing their shit.
That's right.
Look, I had to deal with someone who left an art installation of just pillows out in the mall, and it was one of the worst things I ever saw. And it was an open air mall that was getting rained on, and the justification was, this is supposed to teach us about sleep in places when we're awake. And I'm like, what is that? Oh shit.
I love it.
Anyway, I'm gonna add that there are pillows all over this stupid art camp.
That is fantastic. I love it.
And I use the pillows to steal shit.
Oh my god.
Okay, so you get an outfit, and Christian, I'm assuming you have like nice clothes.
I have nice clothes. I imagine that my nice clothes are still like teacher clothes. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, I look fine. Like I have a button up. Maybe I put on a tie. I'm like, tie? Is that jacket? Like, what do you want? Like,
Ask
Oh my
Kendall.
god.
Right,
Awkward
well, I will
moment
say,
of
hey,
putting on a
hey.
tie for you. Like, oh, this looks great.
I'll
on
say,
you,
this
Christian.
isn't about Deck A, right? This is about Nadine, right? We're about to go present a case, right? And you don't want to bring your Deck C bias to Deck A, right? I mean, those are real, those exist, but right now this thing is about providing better food for folks who need it, right?
okay,
And so
okay.
I need you to dress up, right?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's good. I think I have, and I think like he takes off a jacket, like a jacket that has the fucking leather patches on it. And he's like, this isn't, no, right? And then like pulls out one without the fucking patches on it. He's like, yeah, no, this is the way to go.
This is the way to go.
All right, you guys are all dressed, and I imagine that Kendall. Do you think that you reached out to Sabrina in advance to make some sort of like appointment, or are you just showing up at her office?
Oh yeah, no, I definitely reach out in advance.
Okay.
Even if it's last minute, right? You reach out ahead of time to say, hey, I need to stop by. Let's have a conversation. This is kind of a emergency, or it's kind of a high priority, or heavy, right? Yeah, I'd let her know in advance.
And knowing that it's emergent, she will definitely make time for you. And I think
Slightly less professor.
her office area is probably bigger than like some people's homes on this station. And she has a like secretary or like assistant type person, like a PA that's sitting at like a smaller desk outside of her office that greets you when you come in. And you might have to wait in like a waiting area for a minute, but it's not a very long time before you're instructed to go into her office, which has like I think that windows are very sparse on the station and are kind of a luxury. And her office has a wall that is almost entirely windows, and the windows don't even show the background, like the Scarland system, which is the like galaxy that you're in. It's got like a synthetic like meadow overlaid on it. Like she has these windows and is not even looking at them. It's got like the rolling green hills from the like the stock windows background.
Ooh,
Nice.
could I also like just because I want to use It's My Pleasure to Introduce You, can I say that she's a fan of my work and some of my pieces are here?
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Yes.
Hell
You know,
yes.
I was such a little shit and I didn't mention it the whole time Kendall was like putting this together.
Oh my god.
Nice.
You're like, oh, I sold a piece to her a little bit ago, but you're like waiting for the reveal. Is that what
Yeah, I just want you to see it, all of you, when we walk in.
So I think that do you want to describe what the piece looks like? I think it's something that would be hanging on one of the walls that is not the wall of windows.
Yeah, and I think it's like a deconstruction of what hunger is, right? Is what I tell people.
Yeah.
But what it really looks like is, it's these different figures that are like facing each other, and they're all trying to like hold out towards the same thing. And depending on how you interpret the art, are they fighting for it or are they sharing it with each other?
Oh,
I
like
love
that.
And I think the
Kindle
reason
doesn't know.
yeah,
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
I was
I was just gonna
doesn't
say,
know. I'll point out. Is that a Damien piece?
Oh
he does not do figures. He just does triangles and spheres. But it's okay. Morgan deserves that job. So like,
no! Oh my god!
And
Oh my god!
Sabrina is wearing like a gray like skirt suit, and she has like curly blonde hair, and she stands up from without doesn't come around her desk, but when you enter stands up and like reaches across the desk to shake your hands. And there are enough seats arranged in front of the desk for all of you to sit, and gestures for you guys to sit, and turns to Kendall and says, "So what can I help you with today?"
So I tell her Deki is having a problem with its food. There are some folks that have allergies, and I push the data bundle that I have to her.
Yeah.
And I have a solution. Then I quickly introduce Professor Krishna, and I think I do the same thing. Morgan, who was a doctor, and
Glossing over the was.
yeah, glossing over the was, and I'll let Krishna talk about the allergies because that's a medical thing. I'll talk about when it comes to the solving it. We found those surpluses, so I'll talk about reallocating that surplus, and then I'll let Morgan talk about Nadim and highlighting Nadim's story, Nadim's mom, how they struggle on Deki, and weren't even aware if this was a thing, because I know that personal struggle is a thing for Sabrina. So I want that part to come last to win her over.
Oh, that's good.
And I want to make this speech while I'm passing by my art, right? Just to like
nice.
that point.
Yes.
And I think that she might be a bit surprised that you were a doctor because she knows you as an artist. But I guess it makes sense that you would have come from somewhere before you were an artist. That's not like a sort of profession that anyone is like born or tests into, unlike the other main backgrounds. And sees that, like, well, you were a doctor, which means that you had the requisite training, which means that she has some level of trust there, even if you're not practicing, where she trusts that you know what you're talking about, because she doesn't have any of that background, and is touched by the story of this kid and his mom, and like how he has to work and is not able to eat properly. And the solution that she proposes is if instead of overhauling the way that Deki serves food, could we just sort of create some sort of system where this family is given an extra allowance that would enable them to afford to go to the upper decks for meals? Would that fix it if they could go to, like, you know, deck A has eclectic, you know, if we give them enough money to afford meals at there and in other restaurants, then they would have more of a choice. But the nutrition on deck E is optimized to serve the majority. Like, a lot of work goes into planning those meals. And I see your point about this child, but I think that it could be addressed by giving this family sort of access on an individual level.
Ooh, I think that I have an idea unless someone wants to jump in.
Oh no, run with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Morgan was prepared for this because they know what rich people are like. So they have like a performance piece they drag in. You know, those artists who start painting upside down and then they'll whip it around and reveal what it really is, right? And it's gonna be an image of it's gonna be an image of like Avni and Nadine, but also very clearly Sabrina is a part of that image, like sort of like helping these two directly. And I'm gonna use my ability One Day More. Your art is part of your activism, and it can be pretty convincing. +2 when you use your words to galvanize others. And I want Sabrina to understand this is your chance to be the hero that I know you can be. You are not a cog in this system. You are your own person, right? And I'm trying to like really, really go for it.
All right, give me a roll plus.
Nice.
Let's see. I wonder what stat that would be. I think that's social because it involves communication and perception, but I could also see a case for mental because it involves reasoning and problem solving. But I think that to stack this in your favor, you have a higher social stat. So let's do social.
Yeah. Like, so, unfortunately, Morgan's not that smart. They're just smart.
Very socially apt and very good at reading people and responding to people in that way. So give me a D10 plus social plus the +2 from your trait.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. It's another 10.
Holy
shit. Nice.
Wow. Nice.
I think that Sabrina feels touched, but also a bit guilty. But the guilt is a positive force for her because it gets her where you need her to go. And she says that it won't be an immediate change. And in the meantime, she can sort of see about getting this family access to upper deck meals while this fix is being made. But she's going to add it to her agenda and make it a priority to look at the logistics of where this wasted food is going and how to reallocate it, and also how to sort of overhaul the way meals are planned on Deck E, because clearly the like universal nutrition is not meeting everyone's needs. And so I think that is a pretty favorable end. I think that the immediate solution for Avni and Nadim is that they're going to probably go live it up at Eclectic tonight while all this is getting sorted, because this is a fancy restaurant with like a sushi conveyor belt, and this kid needs to eat. Yeah, do you guys want to do like epilogue scenes? Like, where do you think you guys' lives are like after this mission?
Yeah, sounds good.
Does anybody want to start? What's next for you?
I think Krishna just continues moving forward. You know what I mean? Like Krishna's whole thing is just going to be like, all right, we saved this, but he's not going to stop until it's like bigger change. He's like, one family is taken care of, but everybody else has to also be taken care of. And I think like a small epilogue scene is just I think he's now like moved over to teaching it's almost, I think it's just this, I think the fun one is like it's the same presentation, but now it's to the cafeteria staff and the food workers, who are like, you're going to get an influx of various dietary restrictions. Like we're trying to implement dietary cards so people, you can understand what it is. Here's a PowerPoint on dietary restrictions and what these different cards and needs mean. It's going to be a little bit more work, but and it's just like the same kind of fun energy that it was of the with all the workers.
I love that. That's so sick. And I feel like the cafeteria workers are really receptive to it, even though it's going to be more work. Especially, I think, because the workers who are more hands-on have, with animations, the workers that are more hands-on have sort of witnessed how food can affect people, how food affects people's overall health, but also like their mood, and how for people whose lives might not always be the greatest, coming in from the fields and getting a hot meal is like a bright spot in your existence. So why not make that as good as it can possibly be for the greatest number of people? I think that the people who work in food service, especially in the lower deck cafeterias, are very motivated by like, this is a quality of life need, and how can we further improve that for the people that we serve? Okay. Kendall or Morgan, what do you guys do after the credits roll?
Do you have an idea, Kendall? Or?
I do. I think Kendall is found a new calling in manipulating data and finding surpluses, right? So I think they go hand in hand. He's finding waste and surpluses, maybe making an inventory of that, so that when Krishna comes calling, he can say, "Oh, hey, I have this surplus. Have this surplus. We can solve it with this surplus," and then getting better at manipulating data in a good way for good causes.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's sick. I can just imagine him being like, here's a whole like Excel workbook of all of the small bits of waste on the station and how they add up to accumulate to like resources that could actually meaningfully change people's lives. And then when Krishna is like, oh, we have this problem on deck, whatever, he's like, oh, here is exactly what we're going to use to fix it.
Right.
All right, Morgan, what do you get up to?
That 10, that high roll, I think Morgan realizes that rich people like thinking they can be heroes. And so Morgan, in a similar way that Morgan's not really quite completely altruistic yet, I think they're working through it by targeting compassionate, vulnerable, rich people and trying to be like, hey, you can be a hero too. You can make this your pet project, right? And so they've perfected this performance art on the spot kind of situation, right? In order to work on it. But I think when we come back to Morgan's home, half of which is filled with Damien stuff, I'm going to be honest. The other half is full of these sketches of Morgan just drawing like what it would look like if Krishna and Morgan were hanging out together, maybe holding hands. I don't know. I'm just going to hide these sketches. It's just a friend thing, not thinking about it too much.
Oh, sweet. Do you think that Krishna ever sees the sketches?
Yeah, I think I accidentally bring one along, like without meaning to. Like I'm here to here are the new animations for the new PowerPoint for the next cafeteria.
Oh my god! It opens up and it's like fanfic.
Oops.
And it's like, someone, Damien must have drawn that. I mean, obviously.
And Krishna's also like, well, I look really nice in it. If it was me, and you look really good too. So we'll go back to these animations.
But I think it ends with their hands being like a little closer, right, on the desk, right?
I love this oblivious couple that doesn't know they're a couple. Wow, this is so precious.
If you needed a reference, you could have just asked.
Yeah. I'd love to. You could maybe come over sometime, and Morgan's thinking, I have to clear all those sketches from the wall. And yeah.
Oh my god! Well, like we've been over to each other's houses all the time. Just like for some reason this time it's a little awkward. It's like
it's awkward.
Yeah.
Performance piece, dating as performance art.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Morgan already has a speech. You know, the purpose of this performance piece is to explore the relationship. I mean, connection. I mean, love. I mean, something. What were you talking about? Slides, right.
Just performance art on the difference between platonic and romantic intimacy, except like the goal of the performance art is that the performers find the difference. And then maybe someone is finally enlightened about what's going on here.
Oh, that's so good.
Okay. If we were doing multiple sessions, which we are not, this was a one shot and it was delightful. If we were doing multiple sessions, advancement happens kind of communally, where everyone assigns new traits to other members of the party based on what values you think you've gained, what you think you've learned. It can be traits from other backgrounds, traits from the additional traits section of the game text, or traits that you make up. And there's guidance for making up traits in the game. I think that's a super fun thing that I would love to see more people test out. But alas and alack, we've got tonight. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to hand it over to Jay for outro. I think that's it.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us tonight. I'm Mad J. You can find me on Twitter at MadJ0. I'm the host of the Diceology podcast, and I'm editing podcasts all this week. What are you up to, Dom?
I'm Dom. Tomorrow Revelation 3 is my brain baby. It's on Kickstarter. We're in the last 48 hours as of 20 minutes ago. Every pledge helps. We have some super sick stretch goals that I would love to hit, which will give us additional mission modules, which will give you the tools to run modules like the one that I just ran out of the book without having to sort of do any of the prep work for that on your own, as well as making the station robots a playable character background and printing the book in color, which the teal is so sexy. Take my word for it. The PDF will be in color regardless, but I would love to see these books printed in color, so please back my game. And I think that the link is in the chat. Yeah, check it out, especially if you like what you saw tonight. How about you, Jamie?
Hi, I'm Jamie, and I use they, them pronouns. I promise I'm a much nicer person than Morgan. I'd like to think so. But yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at Temporal Hiccup. I like to use a lot of Sailor Moon GIFs. And currently I'm working on a lot of games. I can't wait to announce some of the other things. But right now, the playtest period for Apocalypse Keys is going on, and that is being published through EvoHat. I'm super excited about that. You can create your own disaster monsters. You can see where it comes from. I like creating disasters who are fighting off the apocalypse, defying it, and trying to unlock Doom's door and solve mysteries. That's very cool stuff. I'd love to see you on Twitter. You can also find me at itch.io at Temporal Hiccup as well. And yeah, how about, of course, my dear Vidya, who put up with me so much tonight.
Put up with? Absolutely not. Well, enjoyed, reveled in. All right. I've been Viditya. I will continue to be Viditya for on and on. You can find me on Twitter at Viditya Valetti. And you can find my games at vidityavaletti.itch.io. I am also available for hire to write for your games, design for your games, also as a design consultant. I have rates, so if you're ever like, I don't know if I'm doing good on this game, I'll be like, let's talk about it. I recently released a game called Basic TCG. It's a community-driven trading card game, so I'm trying to get people into it. It needs a community to drive it, so go check it out. It's really fun. People have made a lot of really cool stuff on it. Also, I am a cast member on All Nerds Here, twitch.tv/allnerdshere. We every Wednesday at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30. I keep wanting to say Peastern, but that's not a thing. Pacific.
It should be a thing.
It should be a thing. It should be a thing.
Oh no! Every Wednesday, I'm a part of an all POC cast game of Pasión de las Pasiones. We are playing a telenovela that's set on Corazon Station. So if you like space station drama and you want a lot of that in your life, come watch us play a telenovela sci-fi space station game. We're halfway through of our season, and it's a really fun time, and it's a great cast, which I'm also part of. So if you want to come check that out, you should definitely do that. That's I think that's it. I think that's all I got.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for showing up and hanging out with us tonight. Sean, lead us out.
So good. So good.
That's so good.
Thanks, everybody. You all were great.